Welcome to J is for Justice podcast. If live breaking news and following true crime is your thing, then please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you like what you see in my videos, please consider giving them a thumbs up. And we're back. Welcome back to J is for Justice, guys. My name is Jay. I am your host. I had to break myself away from that premiere. I was getting all fired up again. I'm like, damn. Oh, I can't stand when people just love to defend Kohberger but slam the roommates and you can be as open as you'd like about your political beliefs tonight. We are not on one side of the party or the other. Feel free to chat amongst yourselves. And I'll be here with commentary. So we have Gavin Newsom. He is the governor of California. So super duper liberal meets super duper conservative. And I don't know how it's going to go. So far, they've pretty much had at each other. They haven't held back. I don't know how they're going to conduct themselves tonight. I don't even really know why this Newsom guy is in it. I was really confused. I was like, wait a minute. He's not running. But they said he's surrogate for Biden. So I don't know if it's like, if Biden decides not to run, hello, Facebookers. If Biden doesn't run, he's stepping in. I'm not really sure what that means, a surrogate. What does that mean? So that's the next guy that they have in mind is this Newsom. If it's not Biden. Didn't Gavin sleep with his best bud's wife? Probably. Fox News has the prettiest women on their show. Look how pretty she is. She's got like perfect skin. She's beautiful. We got about 3 minutes before I turn the audio on here. Vince! Do you guys want the captions or do you want me to turn them off? Yes, this is all a show. I'm going to tell you, Robert Ellison, I was sitting here and I was watching Fox News. I haven't watched Fox News in a long time. Like I watch clips on Facebook or on YouTube. I haven't watched the Fox News network in forever. And I was watching it. I think it was from like 7 to 8 or 6 to 7, whatever show that was. And it was bananas. It felt like I was watching a movie. Like they were talking about like the Saudis and they had the white things with the perfect ropes. And I'm like, everything is looking like a movie these days, you know what? But no, apparently Gavin Newsom is very, very liberal. People are moving out of California by the droves. Robert Ellison, I think people do. They do. They were all sitting. Okay, so anyways, this news thing I was watching, they were all sitting on a U-shaped outdoor sectional. Like one you'd see on Wayfair. And I was like, where are they? And there was like these metal buildings in the back with trees covering them. And it looked like something on a set. Robert, am I out of left field? Do I need to put my tinfoil hat on? Because I feel like some of this stuff is just like a show. It's just like a movie. The simulation. Hey, did you guys see Elon Musk today? Did you see Elon Musk tell all these corporations to go fuck themselves? Did y'all see it? Oops, was this the first 7 minutes of my stream? I'm not supposed to swear in the first 7 minutes. Whoopsie daisies. Sorry, YouTube. YouTube hates me anyways, so what does it matter? Check this out. Check this out, guys, real quick.
From X, which prompted this from Elon.
You don't want them to advertise?
No.
What do you mean?
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go yourself. But go yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is.
Revealed Disney is pulling its advertising from X, which prompted this from Elon.
His dancing.
You don't want them to advertise?
No.
What do you mean?
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go yourself. But go yourself. Is that clear?
You could hear a pin drop. But why is Disney pulling? What is he not doing? This is what I want to know. What's he not doing that they want him to do? Or what is he not allowing that they want him to allow? I need to know more about this. Why are they at odds? Oh, I know. I can't even look at these reporters with a serious. Isn't it weird, Casey? I think it's because, are you talking about the news guy, Casey? Because it's like, we see so many regular people every day. I feel like we look at these guys that are all done up and it's just crazy. Look how old Sean Hannity is. All right, here we go, guys.
Governor of Florida, the Democratic governor of the great state of California, for what is the first ever red state, blue state debate right here on the Fox News channel. Now, we will do our best to give equal time to each governor. We will limit answers to 60 seconds per question. We'll be a little flexible as needed. Let the debate breathe as needed, along with a 30-second time for rebuttal.
But what does Disney have
in it?
in it?
Let me start by
What's their
introducing
stake?
both Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, California Governor Gavin Newsom. Governors, thank you both for being here. Really appreciate it.
Great to be with you, Sean.
I know both of you personally. I've known you both for a long time. I know you're very busy. I also know this. I know that both of you love your individual states.
Yeah.
I know you both have a deep and abiding love for our country, as I do. But where we are in the country, we've never kind of been this divided in a long time. There are clear and deep and profound differences in your approach to governance. Right. And before we begin, one quick note to all of you that are watching at home. Okay, I'm now the longest running primetime cable host in the history of cable news. I'm now, and I feel blessed, in my 28th year at Fox. It's kind of widely known that I am a conservative. However, tonight I will be moderating this debate. I will not be part of the debate. Our questions tonight will be coming from well-sourced, fact-centered perspectives, and you will see and hear most of tonight's questions will deal with the most fundamental issues, the ones that impact the lives of the people that make this country great. The people in Florida, the people in California, and in many ways, every state in the country. We'll discuss taxes, the economy, immigration, crime, guns,
good. We're going to be talking abortion
education,
tonight.
Parental rights, abortion, gas prices. In other words, the things that impact you every single day. In the end, you will get to decide which governing philosophy you believe is better. The governors will explain their governing philosophy. And again, fact-based questions. So let's get started. Everybody ready? All right. As we speak, there is a phenomenon. It is playing out across the entire country. Americans, they are leaving blue states in droves in favor of red states. You can see numbers on the screen right now from the years 2021 and 2022. These particular numbers are stark in the state that you lead. In the case of you, Governor Newsom, according to the U.S. Census, this is where the numbers come from. In 2021, 2022, California's lost 750,000 residents to other states. Governor DeSantis, during that same two-year period, you gained 454,000 residents from other states. So, Governor DeSantis, we had a coin toss. I was not part of it. I missed it. But apparently, Governor Newsom, you won the coin toss. And you chose to let Governor DeSantis have the first question. You will get the last word tonight. So I begin with you. You know, for Governor Newsom, I will ask, you know, what your response is on this as well. It's a simple question. How do you explain this phenomenon? Governor, what's going on?
When I was in the Navy, I got orders to go to Naval Amphibious Base Coronado in Southern California. And I was a lifelong Floridian, but I went there and I was like, man, this is one of the most beautiful places on earth. And I think California has more natural advantages than any state in the country. You almost have to try to mess California up. And yeah, that's what Gavin Newsom has done since he's been governor. He's the first governor to ever lose population. They actually, at one point, ran out of U-Hauls in the state of California because so many people were leaving. Of course, he's imposed restrictions on his own people while exempting himself from those restrictions and going to the French Laundry while his people were suffering. He led the country in school closures, locking kids out of school while he had his own kids in private school in person. Now, he's very good at spinning these tales. He's good at being slick and slippery. He'll tell a blizzard of lies to be able to try to mask the failures. But the reality is they have failed because of his leftist ideology. And the choice for America is this. What Biden and Harris and Newsom want to do is take the California model and do that nationally. In Florida, we showed that conservative principles work. This country must choose freedom over failure.
Governor Newsom, your reaction.
Well, it's good to be with you, Sean. It's nice also to see you in a tie as well tonight. Good to be with you, Ron. And I
dressed up for the occasion, Governor.
No, I'm impressed and I'm grateful. Look, it's an important occasion. This is an important conversation. And I think it's important to the folks watching. They're probably wondering, what are we actually doing here? And I want to answer that very directly. I'll tell you why I'm here. I'm here to tell the truth about the Biden-Harris record and also compare and contrast Ron DeSantis' record and the Republican Party's record as a point of contrast that's as different as daylight and darkness. You want to bring us back to a pre-1960s world, America in reverse. You want to roll back hard-earned national rights on voting rights, on civil rights, on LGBTQ rights, on women's rights, not just access to abortion, but also access to contraception. You want to weaponize grievance. You are focusing on false separateness. You in particular, Ron, are on a banning binge, a cultural purge, intimidating and humiliating people you disagree with. You and President Trump are really trying to light democracy on fire. So, Sean, there are profound differences tonight, and I look forward to engaging them. But there's one thing in closing that we have in common is neither of us will be the nominee for our party in 2024.
Governor, great opening statement, but it did not address the issue. Can you explain this migration out of California and going to red state, blue state?
Well, hold on. You mean the last 2 years, more Floridians going to California than Californians going to Florida?
No, I put up on the
by the way, that's going to be fun to fact check. So we'll just start right there. California has no peers. California dominates, sizable 21 state populations combined. It's the fifth largest economy in the world. We dominate, #1 manufacturing state. We dominate in two-way trade and research and development, access to innovation, more scientists, more researchers, more engineers, more Nobel laureates in the state of California than any other state in the nation, the finest system of higher education. It's the birthplace of life science and biotech and nanotechnology. We dominate in green tech. We dominate in high tech. We dominate in artificial intelligence. So with respect, I think it's an interesting campaign strategy for Ron DeSantis to be bashing a state of 40 million Americans when California simply has no peers.
Well, that's a pretty slick way of not answering your question. He went on a binge of putting out a lot of left-wing platitudes. Here's what I would say. I talked to a lot of the people that have moved from California to Florida, and we never used to get people from California to Florida or really anywhere in the East, because why would you leave California? It's got the best weather, great natural forces. Excuse me, sir. But one of the things that I did, I was talking to a gentleman, a couple.
Here we go. I'm going to let the debate breathe. But it's his turn. Let's take turns.
So I was talking to a fella who had made the move from California to Florida, and he was telling me that Florida is much better governed, safer, better budget, lower taxes, all this stuff. And he's really happy with the quality of life. And then he paused and he said, by the way, I'm Gavin Newsom's father-in-law. So we do count Gavin's in-laws as some of the people that have fled California and come to the state of Florida. And why are we getting people to come? We have a 50-year low in the crime rate. You don't see in the last 10 years, we've had a 45% decline in homelessness. California's had a 45% increase in homelessness. We back the blue. I was walking the streets of San Francisco a couple months ago, and I had some of the cops in San Francisco do a beeline to come over to me, and I didn't know what they were going to say. And they're like, we want to thank you for standing for law enforcement because we don't get that support in the state of California. So people understand quality of life matters. They understand that Florida's doing it right. And I can tell you the numbers speak for themselves. We have way more people moving to this state than leaving. Gavin can't say the opposite. More people are leaving California than are moving into California.
Let me bring up
coming to California the other way around the last 2 years. But let's talk about crime.
Governor, hold
I
up.
think
Governor,
I think
wait a
he
minute.
asked the question.
He said a lot of things that were factually untrue,
You have a
including
moderator.
that 50-year crime low, which his own law enforcement team said you should not be using.
You have yet to address the issue, but I asked you twice. You don't want to answer it. But the issue of why the migration out of red states, out of blue states.
We just established more Floridians coming to California in the last 2 years than the other way
overall,
around.
you had a net loss
You
of
didn't
7.
establish it.
It's a
You just
fact.
asserted it.
It's a fact.
No, it's not a fact.
It is
All right,
a fact.
moving on. Let's go. Your states have vastly different income tax rates. Okay, it is what it is. These are the facts. California's highest rate for top earners, 13%. Married couple, for example, in California, earning a median income of $84,000, they have a 6% income tax in the state of California. Florida's income tax rate is 0% across all salaries, but it goes beyond income taxes. Property taxes are lower in California, but everything else is higher. Let's take a look at the numbers. These are the facts. The average property tax in California, 0.75%, Florida, 0.91%. Sales tax, California, 7.25%, Florida, 6%. Gas tax rate, California, 77 cents a gallon. That is a low estimate. It's up to $1 when you include mandatory fees, and in Florida, it's 35 cents. Corporate income tax, California, 8.84%, Florida, 5.5%. Governor Newsom, this is your question. Let me ask you. Obviously, you support a different philosophy, which is higher taxes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
No, hold on.
No, this is a tax question, Governor.
This is a very different approach, and I agree with you completely. He has one of the most regressive tax rates in the United States of America. It's the #3 most regressive state in America. And what that means is simply this. Who does he tax? He taxes low-income workers more than we tax millionaires and billionaires in the state of California. The question is a simple one. Who, Ron, are you for? It's a factual lie that the state of California is high tax, has the highest tax rate, but for whom? And it's a foundational and fundamental difference. You look at states like Texas, overwhelming majority of Texans pay more taxes than the state of California. So again, it's who you're for. And I think those values matter. And I appreciate you bringing up the issue of taxes.
How many people leave Florida to go to California because they pay less taxes? I've not seen that. Are people going from Florida to New York because they pay less taxes? Of course not. They come to Florida because they pay lower taxes. We don't even have an income tax. And yet California has a higher sales tax than we do, and that's one of the things that we do. But here's the thing, and I'll give Gavin credit. He did at least admit in his first answer, he's joined at the hip with Biden and Harris. He thinks Biden and Harris have done a great job. He thinks the economy is working because of their policies for Americans, and they are not. And so what California represents is the Biden-Harris agenda on steroids. They would love nothing more than to get 4 more years to be able to take the California model nationally. That would be disastrous for working people in this country.
Let's talk about working people. They pay more in your state than the state of California charges for billionaires and millionaires. And it's just a value proposition.
True.
He really is Pelosi's nephew.
You have $6 or $7 a gallon gas. How do they afford that? These are folks that are blue-collar people. You're going to force everybody to buy an electric vehicle. How are they going to be able to afford electric vehicles if you're working-class people? And I think the thing about California, they have one of the highest inequality rates because, yeah, they've got Silicon Valley billionaires. They've got a lot of very wealthy people. They've got a lot of people that are on government assistance, but they've hollowed out their middle class. That's who's been leaving California. They've been leaving in other places. They go to Arizona. They go to Nevada. They go to all these places.
Let me just
like Biden is hollowing out this
I do have a follow-up
question. In California.
Ron, I'm happy that you continue to talk. Let's talk a little bit about Bidenomics because I'm happy to take that on right now as well. And I think it's a fair point.
You're a big supporter of it. I appreciate you acknowledging
14
that.
million jobs, 10 times more than the last 3 Republican presidents combined.
Because he had
15,000 manufacturing
the
jobs.
jobs were because of the COVID lockdowns. Are you kidding me?
3.9% unemployment. As he continues to talk over me, I'll talk to the American people. 3.9% unemployment, the lowest black unemployment in American history, the lowest unemployment for Hispanics in American history, the lowest unemployment for women in 70 years, the lowest black poverty rates in history. That's this administration's agenda. And by the way, as you smile and smirk over there, you should know this, the American people. Here's a guy who celebrated Bidenomics just this week, celebrating $28 million that came into your state because of the CHIPS and Science Act, one of the most significant economic plans since FDR. I'm proud of the work Biden and Harris have done.
Would you like to respond? And I do have a follow-up. The 6% rate on families, couple in California, they pay 6% income tax on $84,000 a year.
Low-wage workers in the state of Florida pay more than billionaire state of California.
I didn't ask about Florida.
Governor, 30. But here's, let me answer the question. Let me ask the question. Ron, if I may answer the question.
Okay.
He is a clown American man.
Lower taxes, lower than 32 states for working families in the middle class, significantly lower taxes than places like Texas.
You support a 6% income tax for people, a couple
I'm
making
against regressive taxes that advantage billionaires and millionaires over working families and the working poor. People in his state pay more taxes in the low end than we tax people on the high end. That's
paying
a fact.
$7 a gallon gas help working people? That doesn't help working people at all. How does paying an 8% sales tax help working people? That doesn't help working people at all. They have the highest taxes in the nation. People flee to be able to save money to get out of California. And you have working class people that move to these other states. Their dollars go much further. But here's the thing. They want to take this Bidenomics and they want to double down on this for the next 4 years. How many people are able to afford groceries now compared to what you were doing 3 or 4 years ago? I talked to people, I talked to a woman who had a cart full of groceries going in, and they're ringing it up. And it got to be so expensive, she has to take a lot of the stuff out. That didn't used to be the case. People used to be able to work hard and get ahead. That is not true under Joe Biden. And you know what, Sean, one more final thing. California's unemployment rate is 60% higher than Florida's unemployment rate. Our unemployment rate is 2.8%.
Theirs is 4.8%.
Why?
Governor.
Because it's a command and control economy. They have a political agenda that they're pursuing.
Let me ask that question. On with the question of jobs. I think it's important. You know what? That affects.
By the way,
that affects everybody.
Biden administration, the last 3 years, it's been a master
Joe Biden paying you tonight
3.9%.
I thought this was state versus state.
No, but it's about the United States of America. I thought this guy was running for president of the United States.
If you are running too. You just won't admit it.
You're running for a third term.
You just won't admit it. You will not admit it. Why don't you just admit that you're running?
Hold on.
All right, we can't talk. We can't talk. I'm going to move on to the next question. The unemployment rate in Florida right now is just 2.8%. As you stated. And California ranks second worst in the country at 4.8%. Hold on. This question goes to Governor DeSantis, and then you'll have a chance to respond. Governor DeSantis.
Well, right. I mean, they tax too much. They regulate too much. They have a political agenda. It's not a good climate for business. They've lost a lot of companies. A lot of companies have moved to Texas. We have had some to Florida, but they've lost a lot of companies to Texas because they're not doing a good job looking out for folks and not creating a good business environment. And, when I have people that come to Florida, they tell me, you guys actually want us to succeed in Florida. And they feel like when they're in California, they don't want business to succeed.
Is that what Disney's saying, the Tampa Bay Rays?
Well, actually, yeah. I think that's an interesting point with Disney because I had Disney open during COVID, and we made them a fortune, and we saved a lot of jobs. You had Disney closed inexplicably for over a year. You were not following science. You were a lockdown governor. You did a lot of damage to your people. You had more kids locked out of school for a longer period of time in California than anywhere else in the country. It was the working class kids. It was the middle income kids. His kids were in private school. They were in class in person. He locked people out because of the teachers union. He is owned by the teachers union. You will never cross the teachers union.
This is just a lot of hot air.
Lock, stock, and barrel.
Let's talk about COVID. Let's talk about your record on COVID. You passed an emergency declaration before the state of California did. You closed down your beaches, your bars, your restaurants.
False.
It's a fact.
The beaches
You had
were not
quarantines.
No, they
You
weren't.
had quarantines. You had checkpoints all over the state of California.
No, he didn't.
By the way, I didn't say that. Donald Trump laid you out on this. Dead to right. You did
not
that.
true.
You followed
That's not
science.
true.
You followed Fauci,
That's
Ron
not-
Sanderson.
that's not false.
He followed science.
That's not
He
true.
followed Fauci. You
And
were
why did
promoting.
everyone leave
hold on. You
California
were
to come to
promoting
Florida? Because we
vaccines.
were open.
You were promoting.
We were
vaccines.
totally
You even
open.
wore a
Closed.
mask in
We were
September,
open,
Sean.
you were closed.
If it's okay with you, we'll do this.
Why were you
Why don't we
closed
do
for
this
so
in a way
long?
where we both can have
Why were you closed for
opportunity?
so long?
You wore
You
a
were
mask
closed.
with
All right,
Donald
guys,
Trump
closed.
outside
I'm trying to let it breathe.
in September
Gavin,
2020. He did all of
Governor
that
Newsom.
until he decided to fall prey to the fringe of his party. And as a consequence of that, Ron, tens of thousands of people lost their lives.
Not true.
The equivalent, if I had your policies, the equivalent of 10 9/11s. Tens of thousands of people lost their lives. And for what, Ron?
Those are more lies. In fact, the Lancet just did a study. Florida had a lower standardized COVID death rate than California did. That's a Lancet study. One more thing.
29% higher COVID
The other
death
thing
rate
we
in the
had,
state of
the other
California.
thing
Didn't even come
California
close.
had,
Your
California
record
had
is one
higher
of
excess
failure
mortality
on
than
COVID.
All right, gentlemen.
Let me talk about the excess mortality real quick.
Honestly,
because the
hold on a
excess
second.
mortality is other
I
things.
want to ask you both. Slow down. I want everyone to be heard. If I can ask you, I really do want this to breathe. I want this debate to breathe. I want it to organically develop. To do that, I need both your cooperation. I don't want to be a hall monitor. It's not my style, all right? You mentioned COVID. Let me go
Those
to
teeth.
COVID. And I plan to bring this up later, but you both took very different approaches as it comes to COVID. Governor Newsom, you issued the nation's first stay-at-home order on March 19th of 2020. Governor DeSantis, you took a lot of heat for reopening schools. You opened schools in Florida in August of 2020. All right, so here's the data, which I think is important. This is where the facts come in. Your state's death rates were almost identical.
This is factually untrue.
Hold on.
Factually untrue.
Okay. And by the way, both your states, with such different approaches, which is pretty fascinating, were both lower, significantly lower than the national average. These numbers come straight from the CDC. Yeah. So, Governor Newsom, how do you explain that?
The facts. Per capita death rates
That's what that is.
in the state of Florida were 29%, 29% per capita higher. 29%.
That's not what the stats say right there.
People, tens of thousands of people
Don't
unnecessarily
lie about
died.
it. He put the graphic up there. Don't lie about it.
Unnecessarily
you don't need to lie
died
about it.
because your policies.
Just understand.
You're lying
You don't
about
need to
your
lie
record.
about it. No, it's not.
You were a lockdown governor.
No, it's
you
not.
locked down
All right, one at a time.
schools.
Gavin
You
Newsom,
locked down
finish
your
your thought.
beaches, bars, and restaurants. That's just a fact. He's running away from his record. He's running away from the fact. Tens of thousands of people died
You saw
unnecessarily
the CDC
because he
numbers.
caved to the. It's 29% higher death rate in the state of
according to the
Florida
CDC.
versus the state of California.
quick
Tens of
response,
thousands
Governor.
of people
You
died.
showed the stats.
Fact.
The stats are very clear.
One at a time.
On a per capita age-adjusted basis, California and Florida basically the same. Now, why is that important? Because Gavin Newsom did huge damage to people in California. He ruined livelihoods. We reopened the state
died
very
under your
quickly.
watch.
We saved thousands of jobs. We saved hundreds of thousands of jobs, thousands of businesses. We had our kids in school. He had the kids locked out of school because of the teachers union. That is having a generational impact. California has one of the lowest literacy rates in the country. In the most recent NAEP exam, Florida came in number 3 for 4th grade reading. California was far, far behind. So you should apologize for not getting your kids in school. Why didn't you get the kids in school in the summer of 2020 like we did? You bowed to the teachers union. You didn't do the job you should have done.
All right,
The only person,
quick,
the only person who needs
one
to
at a time, quick
apologize
answer.
is Ron DeSantis for the tens of thousands of lives that died unnecessarily because he played to the fringe of his party.
We got to take a break. Finish your thought.
No, and when it comes to the issue of schools, you better be careful. You had more learning loss during COVID than the national average in the state of California. It's a fact. More learning loss. Your economy contracted more in 2020.
Quick break.
Expanded slower than California in 2021.
It's commercial.
More to come on this topic.
More to come on this debate. I know it's starting off.
Next segment, I guess.
It's been rather dull at the start, but anyway, we got a lot to get to. Coming up, many important topics that we're going to be talking about, including one issue where we might find some agreement, actually, as we continue the blue state, red state debate. We are live. We are in Alpharetta, Georgia. Thank you for being with us.
All right, it's commercial break. Get your Get your votes in. You got Ron at 62%. We got Gavin at 8%. And we've got Sean Hannity at 31%, which means y'all don't like either one of these motherfuckers. What's up, Falcor? Cool name, Falcor. Rock me, Amadeus. Isn't that Falcor? Falcor. It's a shit show. Ron's teeth are real. Oh my gosh, his smile is so funny. He gets into form. It's great. It's great. I think they're going to try to pitch Newsom like Kennedy, like a new young hope for the left. I don't think it'll work. He's not very likable at all. I just think it's weird that they just all of a sudden threw him in there. Like, I had no idea. Is that even true? Is that a fact? He's really Nancy Pelosi's nephew. I'm Googling this. Not that I don't believe you and think you guys would hose me. Gavin Newsom, Nancy Pelosi. If this is true, I don't even know why I'm watching this guy. A distant relative? He really is a distant relative. An aunt by marriage somehow. Oh, did you guys hear that the guy that the Paul Pelosi guy got sentenced? Paul Pelosi's attacker. He got sentenced. Look, I mean, he should be ashamed of himself. This was him on October 13th, 2023, after having this, I think he's like a sex worker. I don't know. But at his house in boxers with the friggin' hammers. And now he's just out there like nothing ever happened with his drunk ass. So they deliberated for 8 hours on David DePape and found him guilty of attempted kidnapping of a federal official and assault on the immediate family member of a federal official. And he faces up to 50 years in prison for that. Unreal, huh? But yeah, they are related. Sick. I did not know that. I don't like that. I'm sure they're all friends. I don't know if he's been sentenced. Let's see. David DePape sentenced. He was only convicted. He was convicted on the 17th. He'll be, wait, hold on. I think he's in court on the I don't know. He was just found guilty. He could face a maximum of 30 years and 20 respectively. But it doesn't say when he's going to be sentenced. What a sham. What a freaking sham, dude. I mean, well, yeah. What a high price to pay for fun times and drinks. He took the fall, Paul. Amen, Megs. All right, here we're back, guys. Short break. Let's look at the DeSantis grin. Look at him.
Hey. Blue state, red state debate with Governor Gavin Newsom and Governor Ron DeSantis. Gentlemen, let's move on to the issue of borders. Joe Biden's message to illegal immigrants during his campaign was, let them come. I'd have the tape, but I said I wouldn't play the tape. And since taking office, Biden said he's gotten control of the border. Vice President Kamala Harris, Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas, Biden's press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre have all said the border is either secure or the border is closed. Yet the Border Patrol says, well, guess what? They have been a record 6.5 million encounters with illegal immigrants and so-called asylum seekers at the border since President Biden took office. The administration says, well, they don't know how many people actually are in the country illegally. Gentlemen, the American people, I ask you, I believe it's your turn, Governor Newsom, have the American people on the issue of borders, you're defending the Biden administration, they're saying the border's secure. They're saying the border's closed. Those are the numbers from our own Border Patrol. Are the American people being lied to?
I don't think they're being lied to.
Of course we are.
The Biden administration put out a comprehensive plan day one when he got sworn into office 3 years ago, and the Republican Party didn't touch it. They haven't moved on it. They play politics with us. And I'll be honest with you, I think there's probably one person I wouldn't listen to on this topic more than the guy that I'm standing next to, Ron DeSantis. He lacks any credibility on the issue of immigration. When he was in Congress, he supported amnesty. When he's in Congress, you supported John Boehner's bill. It's a fact.
False.
When you were in Congress, you supported
I killed John
Obama's.
Boehner's
You
bill.
supported Obama's efforts
That is
to
false.
advance comprehensive reform.
False.
The last guy you want to talk to on the issue of immigration. Your immigration policy can best be described as a governor from the state of Florida going into another state, the state of Texas, lying to migrants, promising them jobs and housing, sending them to an island, Martha's Vineyard, and then sending them to a parking lot in Sacramento, California. I met with those migrants that you lied to under false pretense. That kind of gamesmanship, using human beings as pawns, I think is disqualifying.
You care about
so
human
again,
beings, dude.
a guy who stands here, who's been out on the Republican debate stage saying, well, he's going to be tough, he's going to shoot people with backpacks, and that he has a strategy to potentially even invade our second largest trading partner, Mexico, that has a record of supporting amnesty and supporting reforms under the Obama administration, is the last guy to be standing on stage talking about the issue of immigration reform tonight.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's deja vu all over again with that flurry of lies. This is a guy that says the Biden administration is not lying to the public about the border. They go to the White House briefing room every day. They say the border's secure. They are lying to you. We know that that's not true. Gavin Newsom is lying to you when he says somehow I supported these things, which I didn't do. He's also lying to you about what it's going to take to solve this problem. California is a sanctuary state. They thumb their nose at federal immigration law, and this has real consequences. There was an illegal alien, Herbert Nixon Flores, who was in L.A., in custody. He was a repeat criminal. ICE wanted to take him into custody because then they would be able to deport him. L.A. refuses to work with ICE, and so they wouldn't turn him over. They end up releasing him on the street. He ends up murdering the mother of a 3-year-old little girl. Those policies are deadly. They do not work. And I would tell you this. The Martha's Vineyard transport, Martha's Vineyard said it was a sanctuary jurisdiction. Kind of reminds me about Gavin Newsom when he restricted Californians, then he went to the French Laundry. These liberal elites, they like to impose burdens on you. They don't want to have to face the consequences of their actions. So we've got a lot of elites who want open borders, who lecture everybody else about it. Then the minute they have to deal with any of the consequences, oh man, all hell breaks loose.
How about the consequences
Hold on, we're moving on. We're moving to the next question.
We'd be much better
on the
off
same
if
topic.
that were the case.
On the same topic, this is important. This is a very important question.
Right.
While some migrants I know want to come to America for a better life for themselves and their family, find the American dream, I totally sympathize with them. Many good people fleeing very bad situations abroad. But others are abusing the asylum process, and in the process, in search of where they're coming from, well, we're now learning that many are coming from some of our top geopolitical foes, countries with little to no vetting, or people that are coming in. They're not being vetted. Look at these numbers. Between October 2021, October 2023, border agents encountered 6,386 nationals from Afghanistan, 3,153 from Egypt, 659 from Iran, the #1 state sponsor of terror, 538 from Syria, 12,605 from Russia, and a whopping 26,113 from China. Now, my question, the next question goes to you, Governor Newsom. What are the odds that Biden's open borders have allowed terrorists and terror cells, unvetted, into this country. Is that a clear and present danger to every American?
The odds are 100%. Of course our enemies are going to take advantage of this. He opened the border. He's not. He's violating his oath of office to take care that the laws are faithfully executed. He's knowingly having 8 million come in. And yes, there's criminal aliens. There are terrorists. There's a lot of fentanyl. That we've had tens of thousands of fentanyl deaths. I've met a lot of angel parents who have lost kids to fentanyl overdose, and the problem is, you'll have a college kid that may take some pill not knowing that there's fentanyl in it, and then right there that can be fatal. They're poisoning our people, and Joe Biden is sitting on his hands. He refuses to take care of the border. He refuses to hold the drug cartels accountable. This is the vision of Biden, Harris, Newsom. Open borders, Americans suffer, and Americans continue to die because of fentanyl overdose. There will be, unfortunately, a terrorist attack at some point that we'll be able to trace back to our southern border.
God forbid. By the way, do you see that risk, Governor Newsom?
Hold on.
Governor,
I mean,
do you see the risk?
Joe Biden put out not only a comprehensive plan, he consistently puts up plans. Hold on, but Sean,
is there a risk?
I'm going to answer your question. I support border security. I think the asylum system is broken. I believe that we need.
I understand that.
I'm the only guy here that's a border state governor. You're trolling folks and trying to find migrants to play political games to try to get some news and attention so you can out-Trump Trump. And by the way, how's that going for you, Ron? You're down 41 points in your own home state. On the issue of immigration, Joe Biden put a $14 billion immigration package up in front of Congress, 2,300 border agents, as well as custom officials, 1,000 new law enforcement officers to deal with the fentanyl issue. And by the way, that's a major issue in your state, 41% higher overdose rates than the state of California. And here's what I haven't heard, not a peep from Ron DeSantis. They want to demagogue this issue. You want to play politics with issues. You don't want to solve this issue. Why don't you lead your party
Governor Newsom,
and support that $14 billion package?
Hold on. I have a follow-up. Governor Newsom, I appreciate your answer. You have mentioned comprehensive immigration reform many times. It's not happened under Joe Biden. I don't think it's going to happen next year.
He put a detailed plan in. Republicans in Congress refused to act on it.
Let me finish my
Congress
question.
to work with this
administration.
administration.
With all of these millions and millions of people coming into this country unvetted, the question was and remains, is this a clear and present danger from the countries I put up on the screen? Is that a clear and present danger to America? And what do you do in the interim before you can have?
That's why the President of the
What
United
happened to Hannity's
States put a
eyebrows?
$14 billion package in front of Congress they can act on today.
And what would that?
They haven't done anything in 2 years,
do?
this Congress.
What do you
Literally
support?
not a single piece
You support a border wall?
legislation. I support the $14 billion package President's put forward that includes 2,300 border agents and customs officials. By the way, also includes $850 million in new technology for border security. You hear nothing from Ron DeSantis. You hear nothing, Sean, respectfully. You hear nothing from the Republican Party. They play politics.
I'm almost out of time.
The President put the plan up to address the anxiety around
Let me ask the
security.
question another way. Does it worry you that our top geopolitical foes, the number one state sponsor of terror, Iran, China, Russia, Afghanistan, Syria, that they're at our southern border? You're a border state governor. Does that concern you at all? The
Why else
security
would I have
aspect?
put the answer is yes. Why else would I put the National Guard? Why would I have just increased it by 50% on the largest port in the Western Hemisphere in my state? I mean, this guy has no record. The fact that you supported amnesty, the fact you supported Obama reforms, those are facts. They're just simple facts. The fact that your greatest contribution, Ron, to this debate is shooting people with backpacks.
I don't mind.
That's so inhumane.
I don't mind him lying to me. I don't mind Gavin lying to me, but I do mind him lying to you. He is sitting there saying that Joe Biden is willing to solve this problem. Is there anybody out there that actually believes this? Joe Biden created this problem. So if he's willing to lie to you about that, you know he's lying to you about all these other facts and figures, about all this other stuff. He's just throwing stuff out to see what sticks against the wall. This is a slick, slippery politician whose state is failing. People are leaving his state, and he's trying to run interference for his failure.
We've got to take our second break. We're going to, when we come back, we have a lot more ground to cover. Quick break. We have a lot of ground to cover. More with Governors DeSantis and Newsom, the great blue-red state debate, as we continue from Alpharetta, Georgia. Again, thank you for.
All right, this is our second break. It's getting slippery up in here. Little roly-poly, slippery.
Yeah, they're loud and beefy.
They're loud and beefy, says Potato. Potato is snoozing right now. Oh my gosh, globalism, thank you. Where did my chat go? Thank you, Miss Globalism. She's a rock star. That globalism. And it is bananas in here tonight. Thank you for joining. It's a late night for me. It's 9:40, Thursday, November 30th. And globalism is making it hot in here. Hot in here.
Did I ask them to do that?
So who thinks Elon Musk would be a good moderator for the presidential debates? I think we have another presidential debate in December coming up, like another group shit show.
So is that a joint? Or is it a cigar?
I know, he smiles like a kindergartner. You know, like your kindergartner is like, they just show their teeth. Hi, Olive. I hope you're having a good night. Sean's taking some shots.
Hello. Alec Murdoch's guilty.
You're being a Karen.
Oh, we do need some Rogan. What's up, Megan Ambrose?
She said, we came home, we planted flowers on the side of the house.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks for being here. Seriously, Megan always pops in for the debates.
Like, what the fuck is this? And everybody's like, what the fuck is this?
Elon straight up told those corps to fuck off. Oh,
Sure.
Joe Rogan would be a good moderator. I agree. He would.
I'm sexy and I know it.
Elon is about to buy news networks. Wait for it. The pens are being prepped. Do you think so? What do you think he's going to buy? That's weird. I don't know if that one person should ever own that much stuff, you know? Hey, Newsom, what happened to your face after you got boosted? Why were you hiding for a few weeks? What happened? Did he break out into hives? What happened to him? Trump would be a great moderator. Sassy Pickle, sure. Sassy Pickle wants to know if I want to know something that will truly blow my mind. I would love to. Tell me. Tell me. Tell me what's on your mind. Blow my mind. I'm waiting.
I flashed and said, wow, pretty far out. I thought it was pretty far out.
Biden needs pull-ups. Biden needs something. He definitely needs something. I don't know what it is. But he needs to get his arse out of the White House because it's a laughing stock. Oh, we're back. Woo. All right. What's going to blow my mind? I'm waiting.
Gavin Newsom, Governor Ron DeSantis, again, thank you both for being here. We're going to take a little breathing room. I don't mind the debate taking on a life of its own, but let each other breathe. I don't want to be the hall monitor. Please don't turn me into that. Anyway, let's look at the issue of crime. FBI numbers violent crime nationally for each of your states. Keep in mind, this statistic shows what is the combined rate of homicide, rape, robbery, aggravated assault, the year 2022. On the national level, the rate was 380.7, offenses per 100,000 people. In California, meanwhile, the rate was much higher, 499.5 offenses per 100,000. In Florida, lower, 258.9 offenses per 100,000. Governor Newsom, let me start with you. Your numbers are way higher than the national average. How do you explain that when safety and security, I would argue, is a prerequisite for the pursuit of happiness?
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. We're near 50-year lows, down 55% violent crimes in the state of California from the 1990s. And I want to compare and contrast that with the issue in Florida that you didn't mention, and that's the murder rate. And let's broaden it more broadly. The issue is 7 of the top 10.
Those numbers were part of the murder rate.
7 of the top 10 murder rates in the United States of America are red states. He has a 66% higher gun
This
death
dude
rate
talks
than
just
the
to
state
hear
of
himself
California.
talk,
Has a
I
higher
think.
murder rate. Go to places like Jacksonville. Go to places like Orlando. Go to places like Tampa. The murder rate's off the charts compared to cities like San Francisco. And you know what? Even more egregiously, Sean, and I think this is important, the American people deserve an answer from you, Ron. You had one of the worst mass shootings in American history, Parkland. 17 kids were gunned down, lives lost, 17 others, lives torn asunder. You had a young girl by the name of Jamie Gutenberg, whose father pleaded with you to do something about it. And you know what you did? You did the exact opposite. You made it easier for felons to get guns without background checks, without any training. These people pleaded with you, the parents and the families, to get tough on gun safety. And again, you made it easier for felons. He said of you, Ron, and I agree with him, after you signed that concealed carry bill, which increases the likelihood, Fred Gutenberg said, of more Jamies losing their lives and more Parklands, he called you weak, pathetic, and small. So with respect, I appreciate you're talking to police officers in the state of California. You may want to spend a little bit more time, not on the Ohio Trail and other places across this country. You may spend a little more time back in your home state and address the murder and gun violence in your own backyard.
So this is the slick politician. You put up the rates. He has 500 per 100,000. Florida is 250. So that's almost twice as much. And he's trying to spin that to say California's doing good. People are leaving California in droves, largely because public safety has collapsed. They have, I mean, you go, when Californians come to Florida, one of the things they'll say, it's almost like an out-of-body experience. They can go to the store, get toothpaste off the shelf, pay for it, and leave, because in a lot of these places in California, everything's under lock and key because they've basically legalized retail theft. They have chosen in California to put the interests of the criminals over public safety. They're easier on sex offenders. They're easier on all these crimes that are leading to a collapse in the quality of life. And if you just walk around San Francisco, you will see, and I think it's interesting, Gavin Newsom was mayor of San Francisco. So he took the San Francisco model, turned that into a template for California's collapse. Now the left wants to take the California model and use that as a template for America's collapse. We cannot let that happen.
Wait, I got to, Governor, no, I got a follow-up question.
You brought up Jacksonville, Florida, compared to San Francisco, is 126% higher.
Governor, let me bring up your,
it's 84%
the next question
higher.
dovetails
in
into
Tampa,
this.
It's 75% higher.
Let me also say,
what are you talking about when it comes to this?
I know you like to jabber.
By the way, those are all easily fact-checked.
I know you like to lie.
Anytime you're uncomfortable,
he put the statistics up there.
Those are all facts.
Your crime is higher.
We
know your crime is higher.
Gentlemen, what are you doing going to move on.
The gun murder rate in your state?
We'll let the audience. We'll let the audience look at the numbers, the FBI numbers, and decide. According to the gun control advocacy group, every town for gun safety. Okay, California has the most, as you support, I know, Governor, restrictive gun laws in the United States. Florida has the 19th most restrictive. Yet, if you look at the year 2019, when each of you took office, California has had 21 mass shootings. Florida has had 9. Now, that is according to a USA Today, AP, Northeastern University database data. Keep in mind, a mass killing is defined as the intentional killing of 4 or more victims, excluding the deaths of unborn children and the offenders by any means within a 24 period of time. I believe, Governor DeSantis, you get this first. Go ahead.
What California wants to do is they want to make it harder for law-abiding citizens to defend themselves. Then they go easy on the criminals who are perpetrating the crime. They don't stand up for the men and women of law enforcement. That's why a lot of people have left the state, because they don't get the support from the communities that they need. And, Gavin told another lie. He said we made it easier for felons to do. Felons are not allowed to possess firearms. That's federal law. That's been long-standing.
No background checks.
That is an absolute lie that he's saying like that. That has nothing to do with buying or purchasing a weapon. So that's just a lie, another lie that's coming up. But here's the thing. People are leaving California in droves because he has failed to stand up for public safety. They are on an ideological joyride to let people out of prison early, to go easy on them. Heck, your buddy, Gavin's buddy in Los Angeles, Gascon, he doesn't even prosecute. When I was in Southern California for the Reagan debate, a lot of the women tell me they have to take off all their jewelry just to be able to go shopping, because otherwise they're going to get mugged. That is the reality that people are facing in California. Gavin can try to put lipstick on that pig, but the fact of the matter is he has failed the people of California.
Governor Newsom. I love this guy talking about backing the blue when you dangled pardons for January 6 insurrectionists, 85 of them that were charged with attacking law enforcement. You talk a big game about backing the blue. With all due respect to the crime rate, again, he's not answering the fact that he has a higher murder rate than the state of California, a 66% higher gun death rate than the state of California. And I can easily answer this point. Gun safety saves lives. I don't think it, I know it. And the data bears that out in the state of California. California proudly does lead in terms of common sense gun safety. Common sense gun safety saves lives. You had the chance to do something meaningful. You had a chance to do something on behalf of those Parkland families. You did the exact opposite. You moved in the exact opposite direction. With all due respect, look at your own backyard, Ron.
So
You're not mining your backyard on this issue.
I will do that because we have we had two radical left Soros district attorneys, like your buddy Gascon in LA, one in Tampa, one in Orlando. They were endangering the public, and I removed them from their posts. Gavin Newsom has not lifted a finger to rein in Gascon in LA. That city has collapsed. That county's collapsed because he is not enforcing the law. So that's just the reality. And here's the thing. This is what's happening. That California model,
we're a little over time.
In Philadelphia,
15,
Baltimore.
15 seconds. We got to go break.
Come on. I mean, you're running for president of the United States. You're talking down the great state of California. You're talking down one of the great American cities, Los Angeles. That's insulting. And you're doing it because you're trying to obfuscate the facts that you have a higher murder rate in the state of Florida and the state of California. We got to take a break. Some of the lowest crime rates we've had in 50 years.
We'll have more with Governor DeSantis, Governor Gavin Newsom on the other side as we continue the great state debate, blue versus red. There's hardly any differences. A lot of ground to cover. Thank you for being with us.
We've got roughly 40 minutes left of this. It's not really as heated as I thought it was going to be, but this Newsom guy, he is just a creep. How does he keep getting voted in California? If everything is so terrible there, why do they keep voting him in? Or is that a dumb question? Because I don't know. That light's too bright, y'all. Sean has better control, though, than the other debates that we watched. Those ones were awful. Oh my gosh, Sparkcraft. That's awful. Yeah, I'm going to go grab myself a Coke Zero, and I'll be right back because I'm parched. So you guys go do what you got to do, and I'll see you back here in just a minute. 2 and 2. Trying to find my stupid camera. Oh, it's getting late. I'm getting tired. Hopefully this picks up some speed so I can snap out of this. Can't believe someone came in here and said I was pregnant. How stupid was that? James, we're just pregnant. Oh my god. Can you imagine me pregnant? I can't even find my camera to turn it off. Oh, here it is. I'll be right back, guys.
No offense, but shut your pie hole, lady.
I can't tell you how many. I was just going to say these damn commercials, evangelical bullshit, drug commercials, I've fallen and I can't get up commercials. I used to watch Fox News when I was in my 20s. It's all about the handouts, says NM. I used to watch Fox News when I was in my 20s, and I was a young mother, and I thought I was living that conservative life, you know? I mean, I don't regret how I felt back then, but, you know, you live and learn. And you just find, you know, you find what you, what fits right with you. What fits right with you. And I learned from my parents to respect other people's political beliefs. My dad taught me that. What's up, Punani? Punani is in the house.
The devil is dancing tonight.
And niggas wife me once they get that good punani.
Yeah, I mean, freaking Fox News used to be on in my living room 24/7. It's just not the same no more, you know? I think things changed and we changed and, you know, whatever. We've got about 35 minutes left of this debate and we are coming back now. Julie, I am so sorry that you live there with this creepazoid. Looks like a lizard.
Hi, welcome back to Hannity, the great red state, blue state debate. We continue with Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, Governor Gavin Newsom of the state of California. Gentlemen, let's turn to the issue of parental rights. Now, in March of last year, Governor DeSantis, as you know, you signed the Parental Rights in Education bill. And let me read from it. It says, classroom instruction by school personnel or third parties on sexual orientation or gender identity may not occur in kindergarten through grade 3 or in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students in according with state standards. Critics have called the bill, quote, homophobic. This is the one they branded the Don't Say Gay bill. I ask you, Governor DeSantis, especially the lower grades, should schools, and maybe all grades, should schools be focusing on reading, writing, math, science, history, computers, and maybe leaving values, considering parents might have different values than teachers at school, to the parents, to religious institutions, or is it the role of the school? What is the role?
The role of the school is to educate kids, not indoctrinate kids. It's not to impose an agenda, it's to do the basics. And what we've said in Florida is it's inappropriate to tell a kindergartner that their gender is a choice. It's inappropriate to tell a second grader that they may have been born in the wrong body. Now, California has that. They want to have that injected into the elementary school. My wife and I have a 7-5 and a 3-year-old. We don't think that that's appropriate. And I know most parents do not think it's appropriate. It's also important to respect parental rights to know what curriculum is being used in the classroom, and everything should be age appropriate. I actually have something that I brought that some parents have objected to. So this is a book that's in some of the schools in California. Florida, this is not consistent with our standards, called Gender Queer. Some of it's blacked out. You would not probably be able to put this on air. This is pornography. It's cartoons. It's aimed at children, and it's wrong. So this should not be in schools. When people like on the left say that somehow you're banning books by removing this from a young kid's classroom, no, this is not age appropriate. And so we're going to stand for the rights of parents. I think we need to do that nationwide. I don't think you can have a situation where some states just trample on the rights of parents. Parents have a fundamental right to direct the education and upbringing of their kids.
I mean, by the way, you've been on a banning bench. 1,406 books have been banned just last year under Ron DeSantis' leadership. I love that he keeps pulling this out. I've seen this. He's been doing this all over the campaign trail. What's wrong with Toni Morrison's books?
It's not banned.
What's wrong? It's not true.
Not.
What's wrong with Amanda Gorman's?
It's not banned.
And the poetry. 1,406. 1,406 books have been banned on your banning bench in the state of Florida. As it relates to parental rights, come on, California, it's in our Constitution, parental engagement. It's called the LCFF process. We actually require parental engagement on curriculum development, and we don't. Complete lie. We don't require K through third grade sexual education. That doesn't happen until middle school. What you're doing is using education as a sword for your cultural purge. And you know what? With all due respect, you know, I remember in the 1970s, we had a bill called the Briggs Initiative. And there was a guy by the name of Ronald Reagan, so offended by the Briggs Initiative, which was the original Don't Say Gay bill. In that case, it was not allowing teachers that happened to be gay to teach. And Reagan had the courage to stand up, and he said, you can't catch gay like you can measles. I don't like the way you demean people. I don't like the way you demean the LGBTQ community. I don't like the way you demean and humiliate people you disagree with, Ron. I really find this fundamentally offensive, and this is a core value that distinguishes the values of my state and, frankly, the vast majority of Americans against the weaponization of education and the purging that he's advancing.
I have a follow-up question for you, though. And by the way, first, Governor, yes or no, are the book banning issues, is that not a state issue? Is that a state issue or a local issue?
It's local, and he's
okay. That's all I want to know.
The home book wasn't there.
Here's the question I have.
1,400
here's the question I have for you, Governor Newsom. Some of the books you're talking about, one is called, the governor just brought it up, it's called Gender Queer, a memoir. Explicit pornographic book showing sex acts. Another, Flamer, graphic book about young boys performing sex acts at summer camp. This book is Gay, a book containing instructions on the ins and outs of gay sexuality. Let me finish. Let's Talk About It, a book that contains graphic descriptions about how to masturbate for males and females. My question to you, Governor Newsom, those books, do you believe that's appropriate for school districts to teach kids? Yes or no?
Come on, those aren't. It's not part of the curriculum. They're not teaching. Those are
those are books that were in school.
Hold on.
Answer the question.
The bottom line is, you are on a book banning binge. Your state, 1,406 books, 3,362 in this country.
You didn't answer.
Answer his question.
That's not. We don't provide for K through third grade education, that kind of curriculum. It's just made up. These guys make it up. It's part of this cultural purge.
Should it be?
Just a made
what grade would it be acceptable?
What I find offensive, Sean and Ron, what I find offensive is a very significant number of these books happen to be LGBTQ books.
And lip
a significant number of these books happen to be about African Americans.
Do you think it's
honestly
we don't teach
that. We don't teach that. We have sex education in middle schools and high schools where it's appropriate. This is a ginned up, made up issue to divide this country. You talk about dividing this country. This is part of the culture war, the weaponization of grievance. This is part using education. We're focusing on math, science. We're focusing on reimagining our school system.
We're going to get to education
He's criminalizing teachers and criminalizing librarians that check out the wrong book.
The schools to impose a liberal agenda, social justice. They have this ethnic studies where they're dividing people. That's what they're doing. But let me just say something about parents' rights, because he says California respects parents' rights. This is rich. He's been telling a lot of whoppers tonight. This may be the biggest. In California, if you're a parent in Iowa or New Hampshire or South Carolina, your minor child can go to California without your knowledge or without your consent and get hormone therapy, puberty blockers, and a sex change operation, all without you knowing or consenting. How in the heck is that honoring parents' rights when you're bringing people from out of state to go around their parents' backs and getting life-altering surgeries? That is radical. That is
Ron,
extreme.
These kids
that is an assault on parents' rights.
You know what? Ron,
it's not for you to decide. It's for the parents to decide.
You know what?
And the parents do not want their kids going to these other things.
Let me go to a follow-up. Let me stay on a follow-up. Let's turn to the issue of education.
Where's your decency and humanity and grace when it comes to
these things? Ripping somebody away from their family,
nobody can hear you.
That is wrong. That is wrong.
I'll tell you,
that should not stand in this country.
Let us turn, gentlemen, if I may, to the issue of education. Here is public school spending per K through 12 students, according to the education data initiative from the U.S. Census Bureau and National Center for Education. Florida spends nearly $12,000 per student, while California spends over $16,000. Florida is ranked #1 by U.S. News & World Report. In terms of state education rankings, California ranks 20th. Governor Newsom, what is your explanation? You spend more money and they have better results in Florida. Why?
I told you what I'm doing in public education. We created a brand new grade, pre-K for all. We're doing after school and summer school for all. We're reimagining the school day, not just the school year. We just provided 3.4 million of our students upwards of $2 billion for child savings accounts and the opportunity to start businesses when they graduate. We have one of the best records under COVID, during COVID. And again, you didn't answer to the fact you had more learning loss. Ron DeSantis had more learning loss during COVID. 4th grade reading, 4th grade math, 8th grade reading, 8th grade math. We outperformed you in it's a fact during COVID in every one of those categories. I can't wait to get all the PolitiFacts tonight because, Ron, you keep denying some basic fundamental facts on health, wealth, and education. We outperformed you during COVID. You talk about things to apologize. You should apologize for your COVID record. You were with Fauci. You aligned with vaccines. You aligned with CDC guidelines until you didn't, and tens of thousands of people died.
Let's return our focus to education.
Opposite of what he actually
when we
did.
opened the schools, we bucked all of those people June of 2020. He kept the schools closed for a long time, and that had devastating impacts. And why? What Gavin Newsom does in California is kowtow to the teachers union. Whatever they tell him to do, he does. He will never balk the teachers union. That's why the kids were locked out of school for so long. Joe Biden is in the pocket of the teachers union, and so is Kamala Harris. That's why they fought school openings when he came in there. When they had that in there. Biden came into office and he brought in the teacher union to be able to do all these different things to try to keep the schools closed.
Douche. This has got to be a joke.
The Democratic Party, the far left in this country, they are owned lock, stock, and barrel by the teachers union. I beat the teachers union in Florida to get the schools open, first in the country during COVID, also to do universal school choice. Every parent in Florida has a right to send their kid to the school of their choice. We're winning these fights. California is bending the knee to the union because they control the politicians.
All right, let's move on. A topic that will seemingly play a very large role in the future elections, and it's the issue of abortion. Yes. I have a question for both of you. I'll ask you to please respect the individual's
I can't find
right
anything
to
about
answer
those
uninterrupted.
books. I just looked.
And that is Governor DeSantis. I think it's actually your turn, Governor Newsom, if you don't mind.
All good.
Most medical professionals believe a baby is viable outside of a mother's womb by between 24 and 26 weeks. That is the general scientific consensus. It changes. There are some variations on it. Abortion is legal in your state, quote, up to viability, is my understanding, unless the mother's health is in danger. I'd like to get you on the record. You've been unwilling to answer this question. Should there be any restrictions on the issue of abortion that you support at all? Because funding in California, you have allocated in your budget $265 million for abortion last year alone. My question, very specific. Do you support any restrictions at all on abortion, especially in months 7, 8, and 9, past viability?
I'm going to answer that question, but let's talk about the issue of abortion. Let's talk about the issue.
You're going to answer it?
I'm going to answer that question.
Answer it.
I'll repeat that. But I think this is important, and it bears repeating. Ron DeSantis has signed the most extreme anti-abortion bills in America. He signed a bill banning any exceptions for rape and incest. And then he said it didn't go far enough and decided to sign a 6-week ban before women even know they're pregnant, Ron, before women can even access a doctor's appointment. So extreme is your ban that criminalizes women and criminalizes doctors that even Donald Trump said it was too extreme. On the issue of the extreme exception that you highlight as it relates to the issue of later-term abortion, it's almost always because of a fetal anomaly, the life of the mother. And in those rare cases, I trust, and answer your question, I trust the mother and her doctor to make that decision.
So in other words, I want to be clear on this. If a woman and her doctor, for any reason,
not for any reason.
No.
It's
I'm asking.
Extremely rare.
Should there
this
be?
Is a canard. I know where you guys are going, Sean. You're even uncomfortable with this whole issue. And I understand it. This is where you guys have to go to cover for the extreme anti-abortion agenda of Ron DeSantis.
Should there be?
Who's hurt your
would
party.
you support a ban on abortion in 7th, 8th, or 9th month if the mother's life is not in jeopardy?
Extreme exception. People aren't going on and having abortions.
Should it be illegal then?
Unless something devastating has happened.
Should it be illegal?
It should be up to the mother and her doctor and her conscience. And it
so
almost
the answer is
always,
no restriction.
I've already answered it, and I'll just reinforce it. To cover up, again, hold on, for the most extreme abortion ban in the country. I have a simple question, though. This is important.
No. I'm asking the question.
Ron DeSantis, will you or will you not sign a 6-week ban in the unlikely case you become president of the United States?
Would you sign
a national ban?
Let's talk about your
he won't
state.
Answer that. He's getting saved
you had 15
on that
weeks.
Fundamental question.
You had a 15-week rule in California. You reduced it to 6. My question is this. What was your thinking behind it? Was it for religious reasons? Was it for scientific reasons? What was the reason for you from going from 15 weeks to 6 weeks?
Well, I believe in a culture of life. I think we're better off when everybody counts, when everybody has an opportunity to do well, and that bill attaches when there's a detectable heartbeat for the child. And some states have done that. Some states have done others. Some states have done later. And obviously, they have a right to do that. But I think about one of our Floridians, a lady named Penny Hopper. She actually survived a late-term abortion back in the day, and they left her on the table there to basically wither away. Her grandmother came, saved her, brought her to a hospital, saved her, and she ended up living a good life. So she counts and she matters. And I think that the position that we have from the modern left, including in California, is that they will take your tax dollars and they will fund abortion all the way to the moment of birth. He's wrong when he says the later terms are all because of this. 88% past 15 weeks are in fact elective from the Florida data. He doesn't keep data there. But that is really extreme to take your tax dollars and to do this all the way up to the moment of birth. He didn't answer your question about any type of protections at all for a baby that has a beating heart, that can feel pain, that is viable.
Let me hold on.
Respectfully, this is an important conversation. Will you or will you not support
a national?
Answer, Sean,
why didn't you answer his question?
Or will you not support a national ban if it lands on your desk? You couldn't answer that in any other context.
Okay,
answer it tonight. It's a simple yes or no. By the way,
next issue.
Hey, no, Sean, not a next issue.
You never gave a week.
The American people should know this. I'll answer it for Ron DeSantis.
Thank you, Regina.
Answer it. He will sign that extreme 6-week
let me move on.
ban. The American people should know that.
I'm calling this the lightning round. It would be great if you guys cooperated. I'm not a potted plant here. And I want to ask you, we all know that federal policy does have a huge impact on states. We know that. I'm going to ask you 3 simple questions, and I just want one-word answers, okay, from 3 of you, because we're coming up on a break. And the issue is right now Joe Biden is president. So I would like both of you to give a grade to Joe Biden overall as president. Governor Newsom, I'll give A.
An A, absolutely.
Governor
I think it's been a
DeSantis.
master
failed.
And a failure. Okay.
No, that's your
Now, number 2,
president.
are his policies helping or hurting your individual states? Is it helping the state of Florida?
The inflation is hurting our state big time.
Grade.
Fail. He failed.
Yeah.
He's failed on the economy.
The guy just took $28 million from the Science and Tech Act. Thank you, Joe Biden. It's absolutely accelerating our dominance in manufacturing, accelerating our revitalization
Okay,
of our
that was a
state.
simple
The answer
answer.
Is unequivocally,
Lastly,
absolutely yes.
Okay, I will ask you, Governor DeSantis. I have played over and over again, and Governor Newsom, you have seen over and over again. Joe Biden is experienced what I believe to be significant cognitive decline. And in other words, it's the toughest job in the world. Is Joe Biden experiencing this cognitive decline? Is it a danger to the country? Do you find when he speaks, what is your reaction to it?
Yes, he's in decline. Yes, it's a danger to the country. He has no business running for president. And, you know, Gavin Newsom agrees with that. He won't say that. But that's why he's running his shadow campaign. He should not be running. He is not up to the job. and it is dangerous for this country.
Well, I will take Joe Biden at 100 versus Ron DeSantis any day of the week at any age. In fact, all of the folks
you think
on the
he's up to the
campaign
job?
trail.
You think he's 100%?
I've been spending
100%?
plenty of time
He
with
can't even
representatives,
walk.
private and
Let him
public.
answer.
You don't know. And by the way, results matter. Inflation now is down to 3.2%. Wages are up to 4.4%. The economy is booming, 5.2% GDP growth in the last quarter. Those are facts you don't hear on Fox News. 14 million jobs, 10 times
Let me
more than
move
the last
on. That was the lightning
Republican
round.
presidents
Now,
combined.
on March
Biden
31st, 1968, President Lyndon B. Johnson famously said, "I shall not seek and I will not accept the nomination of my party for another term as your president." Now, despite being an incumbent president who is eligible to run for re-election, Governor Newsom, I've interviewed you twice on this issue. You say you are not running for president in 2024. In fact, you recently said, quote, you think that Vice President Harris is naturally the one lined up to run for president if Joe Biden were to bow out. Governor Newsom, tonight I ask you, will you make an LBJ-like statement? And Governor DeSantis, you say he's running a shadow campaign. In your response, I would like you to answer that. Will you say unequivocally, under no circumstances are you running?
Correct. I've said, I don't know how many times I can say it. Just making this stuff up about a shadow campaign. Bottom line,
if at the DNC convention they come and ask you, will you run? What will you say?
Joe Biden will be our nominee in a matter of weeks. And in a matter of weeks, Sean, he'll be endorsing Donald Trump as the nominee for the Republican Party.
If they come to you at the DNC and Joe is incapable of running and they ask you, are you a hard no?
It's not even optional. He's doing fantastically. I appreciate and respect the work the president's doing and the vice presidents, the Biden-Harris campaign and team. So absolutely unequivocally,
Vice President Harris would be the next
continuing to support their efforts. President Biden will be reelected. Donald Trump will be rejected.
I think what he's saying should color every single thing. I mean, I've called him on a lot of the lies, but he says Joe Biden is 100% up to the job. You know that that's not true. Anybody that can look, he wants you to believe him over your own lying eyes. When he says the economy is so great, how great is it when you're going to the grocery store now? How great is it when you're trying to afford a home? How are those interest rates doing? What about affording a new car? So we have to get real here. We have to understand that Biden is not up to job. But here's I think the problem. What Biden would do, the people around him, they would look to California for the model to go forward in the next 4 years. That would accelerate the decline of this country. Yeah. Freedom is what works. The failures need to be left in the dustbin of history.
Yeah, tell about freedom to women that you're trying to criminalize in your state. And
all right, we're retreating to old ground.
For
years,
this notion of freedom,
gentlemen,
Florida is not a state of freedom.
One of the things I wanted to accomplish here is the policies that you both implement have a great impact on the citizens of your individual states. For years, a gallon of gasoline, Governor Newsom, in California has been notably higher in your state than in the state of Florida.
That's right.
Here are the numbers, by the way, recent numbers. The average cost for a gallon of gas nationwide, just over $3.24. In Florida, $3.17. In California, it is a whopping $4.85. So, Governor Newsom, I ask you, you've also sued big oil companies alleging executives have deceived the public about the health of our planet, knowing that it's a polluter. If your lawsuit is successful, that would likely mean higher gas prices, even higher gas prices for everybody. Here's my question, though. Could you name right now one source of energy that you can bring online in the next 3 to 6 months that would be as inexpensive for the people in this country as fossil fuels?
Well, let me touch.
Can you think of that energy?
Let me touch on I'm going to get to your question, and then let me touch the latter part of the question. Let me get the first part of the question. Okay. You're absolutely right. Since the 1980s, Republican administrations, Democratic administrations have experienced under their stewardship, experienced higher gas prices in the state of California. We've been ripped off by big oil. We continue to be ripped off by big oil. Big oil now has met a new foe, and that's the state of California, the most aggressive anti-gouging law in America, more transparency being required than any time in America. And yes, we're suing the industry responsible for this climate crisis. By the way, the same climate crisis that Ron DeSantis celebrated as human-caused, who campaigned for a fracking ban, who campaigned to oppose
Shut the
offshore
frack
oil
up.
drilling, and then 2 days after he got elected, signed an executive order. By the way, Nikki Haley had you dead to right on this, Ron. Signed an executive order doubling down, saying you're adamantly opposed to fracking, adamantly opposed to offshore oil drilling. You were celebrated by the Sierra Club for that action until you weren't. Once again, it shows the hypocrisy of Ron DeSantis. Now you're running away from climate change as things have gotten worse. Hurricanes, wildfires, droughts, and floods. $179 billion of weather-related disasters. And he has no response except talking points from big oil.
What you are witnessing is real. The participants are not actors.
But here's the thing. California is the only one that oil companies are gouging. Why aren't they doing that to Georgia or Florida or these other states that have lower gas prices? Because of their policies. That's why people are paying more there. What Gavin Newsom wants to do, what he's doing in California, what Biden wants to do nationally is government-dictated green energy policies. They want to kneecap fossil fuels and reliable energy. We've already seen what's happened in California. They have rolling blackouts. He actually implemented a mandate to buy electric vehicles. So pretty soon in California, you're not going to be able to buy a normal car, only electric vehicles. And they celebrated that as like a great thing. A couple days later,
I don't want electric
there was
car.
a notice from the state government telling all EV owners, do not plug in your EV because they don't have enough grid capacity. So he is walking his people into a big-time disaster. What Biden wants to do is he wants to take the California model. He wants to impose that nationally. He wants to take away your ability to purchase the car that you want. He wants to kneecap reliable energy. And he wants to bring these rolling blackouts all across the United States of America. It doesn't work. It's going to cause huge problems. We have more energy here. We can be the dominant energy producer in the world.
Florida.
And
You
that's what we're going to do. Florida is not a big energy state. We have the Marcellus Shale. We have the West Texas. We have all of that. So let's do that. No forcing electric vehicles.
We got to take
Save
a break.
The American automobile.
When we come back, we'll continue the great state, red state, blue state debate more with Governor Ron DeSantis, more with Governor Gavin Newsom. As we continue, thank you for being with us.
What did he call it? Rolling blackouts? What is that? Does he like deliberately shut off your... Does he like deliberately shut off your energy for a while? Wait a minute. Your neighbor had what? Hold on. Your neighbor... Where'd my chat room go? Or whatever the fuck you call it. Did I just say chat room? Yeah, I'm 50. Fight me. Wait a minute. My neighbor just had a huge extension cord coming out of the house. I was like, what the fuck? They're plugging in their car. Oh my God. Yeah, I don't want an electric car. No. Mm-mm. Right. Who can afford the shit? Frick my Amadeus. He's a supporter of Chinese goods. Seems like a lot of people are. If you buy on Temu, you're supporting Chinese goods as well. Do you buy on Temu? Everyone takes a turn. Everybody takes a turn with no power. Brownouts. Weird. You have a hybrid? Frack me? No, I didn't notice his height. They do parts at a time. How long are they off? If you buy Temu, then you're supporting China. Just FYI. FYI. So they've done that. When I used to live in Florida, they actually had a wave at the stadium, but with power. Regina, you're hilarious. They used to do that with we had a separate meter for our AC, and like it would do they called it intermittent shutoffs. So I don't think Ron DeSantis was the governor then. That food looks really good. That's Omaha Steaks. My girl Flo gets Omaha Steaks. Hour to a few, depending on the situation. Good night, Punani. She's going to replay this shit in the morning, she said. Good night, Poontang. Wang dang, sweet Poontang.
So there's a lot of butt joints that we have to cover. And I'm like, Dudley, let's do butt joints together because I don't want to have to do them all by myself.
You know, that's a really good point. Globalism, I was thinking about that yesterday, that most of the shit is on Amazon is China anyways. It has been for years. I mean, let's face it. Something on my elbow. Weird. Anyways, I noticed that about Amazon. I'm like, all right, so we only have 6 minutes left. So it really didn't get that juicy. What I figured out tonight, what I learned is that Gavin Newsom is a douchebag. I don't like him. I don't like anything about him. Here we go for our last segment. Smile like DeSantis.
Welcome back to Hannity, the great red state, blue state debate. We continue with Governor Gavin Newsom, Governor Ron DeSantis. According to the Department of Housing and Urban Development, these are the numbers for the homeless population in each of your states. It is a big problem around the country. In the state of California, it is 172,000.
Frackin' fuzzy slippers
in Florida,
and lip
it is
balms.
26,000. Now, the per capita numbers are
one
pretty
more
much
poll.
the same. For California, it is 44 per 10,000 people, while Florida has 12 per 10,000 people. So, Governor DeSantis, I ask you, why the disparity? What are the policies you are implementing that is different from that of California?
California is adopting leftist policies. Gavin Newsom was governor or mayor of San Francisco. He put out a 10-year plan like 20 years ago. He was going to end homelessness. Then a few years later, he had another plan. And now he says he's going to do, and it's only gotten worse. In the last 10 years in California, the homeless has gone up 45%. It's gone down in Florida 45%. But it's caused a huge problem with quality of life in California. The people that flee always bring up this. They've really empowered lawlessness and drug use. And, you know, Gavin Newsom at one point tried to say that California was the freedom state. And I just kind of laughed, like, you're locking people down, you're doing all this. But then I thought about it. You know, California does have freedoms that some people don't, that other states don't. You have the freedom to defecate in public in California. You have the freedom to pitch a tent on Sunset Boulevard. You have the freedom to create a homeless encampment under a freeway and even light it on fire. You have the freedom to have an open-air drug market and use drugs. You have the freedom, if you're an illegal alien, to get all these taxpayer benefits. So those are freedoms. They're not the freedoms our founding fathers envisioned, but they have contributed to the destruction of the quality of life in California, and the results speak for themselves. People are leaving the state because they have failed in addressing the homeless population.
Well, I love the rant on freedom. I mean, here's a guy who's criminalizing teachers, criminalizing doctors, criminalizing librarians, and criminalizing women that seek their reproductive care. You're making it harder to vote. You're banning books. I mean, spare me this notion of freedom. Ask the folks at Disney about freedom and free enterprise. Ask the folks at the Special Olympics that you threatened to fine with $27 million.
Because they were discriminating against the athletes.
Who goes after
those
Special
athletes to
Olympians
be
when
out
it
of there?
comes to
Kids
the
with
issue,
Down syndrome.
Ron, of homelessness?
That is wrong. That's being a liberal bully. That's being a bully.
Really?
They had Down syndrome, and you wanted to discriminate against them.
$27 million
They were discriminating against
Special
because they were
Olympians.
discriminating against the athletes.
On the
they
issue
wanted to
of
marginalize the athletes, and you wanted the athletes marginalized. That was wrong what you did. These
What
are
a
kids
dork.
with Down
By the
syndrome
way,
that just wanted to compete.
I grew up
and
working
you wanted
aid to
them,
adoption
you wanted
of
them
special
out of the
kids. I've
Special
been
Olympics.
working with
You're
Special
a liberal
Olympians all
bully.
my life.
You
How
wanted them
dare
to be.
you?
You wanted
How
them
dare
to be
you, Ron?
ostracized.
You
I taught you.
You've been
molesting kids your whole life.
Florida. She got to participate because we stood up for her
This is the way
rights.
you treat. By by the way, no, hold on.
It's your
no,
turn.
let me say, I can handle that. I can handle it. I'm used to that. But you know what?
You wanted her
your
not
attacks
to
on the trans community,
You
your
wanted
attack
her
on the
not
gay
to
and lesbian
compete.
community.
That's wrong.
You attack
She should have been
vulnerable
able to compete.
communities.
They always
We
have
stood
to-
up for
women.
them, and we made sure they
Again,
could
Ron,
compete.
Democrats
relax.
are dirty when they bring.
I can handle it.
They always fall
I'm
back
used to
on the
bullying.
gays,
You're
and it's
nothing
not
but a
fair.
bully.
You're a
I understand
bully.
that. Intimidating and humiliating people, that's your calling
Why
card.
did you want the
And by
Special
the way,
Olympians not
how
to be
well
able
is
to
it going
compete?
for you?
Why
How
did you
well
want
is
them
this
not to be able to compete?
How well is this
Why do you
campaign
not
going?
want them to be
He's
able
not
to
going to let me
compete?
talk, so
I don't
I'll talk to the
understand
American
why you would want to
people.
discriminate
Again,
against
I'll
an
remind
athlete
you,
with Down
the
syndrome.
blueprint.
He wanted them to be
blueprint
excluded
for
from the
Florida
Special Olympics.
has put Ron
Reel it in,
DeSantis
Hannity.
41 points down
Let's go
to
back.
Donald Trump as you try to get tough.
We said
and
that.
out-Trump Trump.
Let's go back to
on
the
the
homelessness.
issue of homelessness.
The
It's been an issue for
God's
decades,
sakes.
in the making in the state of California, ever since we started shuttering down our mental health institutions back in the day, in Ronald Reagan's day. The difference is I'm the first governor in California history to take this head on. We are investing unprecedented resources, more accountability. We've gotten 68,000 people off the streets, close to 6,000 encampments we've gotten off the streets. We've also invested in unprecedented resources in reforming our behavioral health system. Ron has literally the worst mental health system in America, forgive me, outside of Mississippi and Texas. And so with all due respect to being lectured on some of these topics, Ron DeSantis is not the one I'm going to be listening
30-second
to.
response. You're well, I'm
30
looking at total
seconds?
time. Governor DeSantis, about 2 minutes.
He needs it.
This is a map of San Francisco. There's a lot of plots on that. You may be asking, what is that plotting? Well, this is an app where they plot the human feces that are found on the streets of San Francisco. And you see how almost the whole thing is covered, because that is what has happened in one of the previous greatest cities this country's ever had. Human feces is now a fact of life, except when a communist dictator comes to town. Then they cleaned up the streets. They lined the streets with Chinese flags. They didn't put American flags there. They cleaned everything up. So they're willing to do it for a communist
they
dictator,
own
but they're
us.
not willing to do it for their own people.
I want
They
to get
own
into
us.
the limited time we have left. I want to get, there are two very important issues we have not hit. After the Hamas terror attacks on October the 7th, we have seen what is nothing short of a disturbing outbreak of virulent hatred, anti-Semitism around the world, in the halls of our Congress, on American streets, on college campuses. Last month, outside in Sydney Opera House in Australia. We've seen it all over Europe, but in Australia, anti-Israeli protesters literally in this day and age chanting, "Gas the Jews, F the Jews." In American cities, we have protesters calling for global Islamic war and demanding that Israel be wiped off the map, or in the words of Congresswoman Tlaib, from the river to the sea. Israel, meanwhile, is vowing to eradicate the terrorist group Hamas. But according to a report in the New York Times this week, U.S. officials have warned Israel that they need more to fight more surgically in Gaza. Governor Newsom, 30 seconds for you. We have to cut back on time.
All right.
How can Israel win the war against this terrorist group using surgical strikes and directions from Joe Biden?
gloves.
I visited Israel. I met with families, hostages. I saw videos of children being killed in front of their parents, parents being killed in front of their children. I saw a beheading with a garden hoe. This is not complicated to me. This is a fight between good and evil. Hamas is a terrorist organization, and they need to be eliminated, not just for the people of Israel and Jews around the world, but for the Palestinians themselves. But when it comes to the issue of anti-Semitism, you just mentioned a lot of things that have been occurring on Ron DeSantis's watch. He said nothing.
You're calling him
Masked man
anti-Semitic?
marching. I'm saying he countenanced anti-Semitism, and now he's finally talking a big game ever since October 7th. How about the masked man marching in the street?
Fairness of
Jews
time,
get the rope.
gentlemen,
you said nothing.
Governor DeSantis.
Nothing on these issues. Look
Hamas
at the record.
wants nothing
Governor
short
DeSantis.
than a second Holocaust. They want to destroy Israel and wipe every single Jew off the map. Israel has every right to defend itself to the hilt. Biden should not be kneecapping them in any way, shape, or form. And by the way, Biden stranded a lot of American citizens over there. We're trying to get home. So I did an executive order in Florida.
He always likes to tell this
and we
story.
sent planes over to Israel right in the
And we
aftermath of
flew him
October
back
7th.
to Florida, and it was
we
a photo
saved
op.
over 700 Americans, mostly
He was on the
Floridians,
runway.
but not all, because Biden wouldn't do it. Finally, Biden started dumping people in Greece, and then they were sending a bill to the Americans just to get to Greece. If you come to this country illegally, they will pay to fly you all over the place. They'll put you up in hotels at no expense. But yet our own citizens fleeing a war zone, they're going to send you a bill. Joe Biden failed those people, and we stepped up and got it.
Let me
done.
ask you. I want to turn to the
anti-Semitism
Smile,
on
Ron.
your streets for years.
I want to turn
and
to
years,
the
Ron,
issue,
and you haven't
gentlemen,
answered
of
that
China. I talk about this often. Intellectual property theft, unfair trade
Oh,
practices.
we're going to 11. Half hour of this shit.
China has been hostile to our fighter jets in international airspace, hostile to our Navy in international waterways. We know all about the China spy balloon that happened. 8 days right across the United States over military installations.
Over and over.
The communist Chinese, they have nationals buying up thousands of acres of ranch
line
land,
the streets
farmland,
with their flags.
and land near military
Wake up.
installations. Their
They own
hostility
us.
towards Taiwan. Governor DeSantis, our #1 geopolitical foe. I don't see that the Biden administration has been tough with them. What would you do differently?
Nothing.
Well, first, in Florida, we banned China from buying land in our state because you're right. You don't want them buying farmland or land near military bases. So we acted. We also got the Confucius Institutes out of our universities. China should not be involved in our universities at all. What you need to do is you need to have hard power in the Indo-Pacific to deter China's ambitions. You need to take the economy, and we need to decouple from China. We're dependent on them for so many things. And then finally, we need to get serious about their influence in this country. They shouldn't be able to buy farmland anywhere. I can tell you this, I would not go to China and grovel in front of Xi like Gavin Newsom did. He says China's a partner on climate change. China's adding 2 new coal plants every year. China's laughing at us with what they're doing. So yes, they're the #1 threat we face, and we need to take it seriously. And Joe Biden is not doing that.
This is just a reminder. I think it's a question some people are probably asking. I know Nikki Haley's campaign is asking, when are you going to drop out and at least give Nikki Haley a shot to take down Donald Trump in this nomination? She laid you out. You're a walking hypocrite.
You're
a
This
walking
guy's an asshole.
What about
Why is he
China?
here?
This is the guy that was looking for direct foreign trade from China, was doing trade
That
shows,
is
open
false.
up an office.
That's already been debunked. And you talk about the liberal fact checkers. Even
He
the
said
liberal
debunked.
fact checkers
Donald
did
Trump
that.
himself today called you Red Ron for a reason, because of your complete hypocrisy.
All right, we're almost out of
You're
time.
talking a big game. I confronted Xi on the issue of fentanyl, Ron. I confronted them
Not on human rights, you didn't.
I absolutely did, with the foreign minister and the vice president and other leaders in China. You talk a big game. Meanwhile,
We're
you haven't
over
done anything
time.
except tweet things
Final
out.
question, Governor DeSantis. We owe you about 90 seconds, but you get the last word as per the coin flip.
What are you giving me? 5 seconds? What do I get?
No, I'll do okay. I'll be a little more generous than
give me
that. Look, it's been a very passionate debate tonight. Actually, it's been fun to be a part of. I think the American people will decide. Governing philosophies could not be more different. But let me ask you this. Kind of a fun question. You both clearly love your states. You visited each other's state. Governor DeSantis, you can take as much time as you want. You have an extra 90 seconds. What is your favorite thing about the state of California? And
I give him 5 minutes for this.
go right ahead.
That's a good question.
All right, we'll stay longer. 5 minutes, Governor.
When I got orders as a Navy lieutenant to go to Naval Amphibious Base Coronado, I had not spent any real time in California in my life. Florida native, and I'm very proud of the state. But I got down there, and that Strand is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. And then all up and down, just a tremendous coastline. I do believe California has more natural advantages than any state in the country, which is why when you have so many people leaving on net, that's hard to do. Like, people don't want to leave there because it really is such a beautiful area. And I'm proud of the military installations that are there. I'm proud of what the Navy's been able to do in conjunction with the state. It was really important duty. It really helped forge me as an individual and as an American. And so I'll always have very, very fond memories of that nice Strand down there in Southern California.
I love that. I mean, Reagan.
No, what do you love? I don't know what you love
Reagan
about
used to call California Coast of Dreams. By the way,
what do you love about Florida?
What I love about your question is the comedy in the question, meaning, you know what? We all want to be loved. We need to be loved. We all want to be protected, respected, and connected. I think there is a unity frame here.
Okay.
You said it well. I mean, Ron, I have no doubt Ron DeSantis loves this country. I love this country. It's not about red versus blue. It's red, white, and blue. The United States of America. And I think we're all better off, and we're all better off. And so I appreciate this conversation. I appreciate you, Ron, being a family man. You got 3 incredible kids. I appreciate your wife, your sacrifice, and I appreciate your military service. But I also appreciate we do have fundamental differences about the fate and future of this country. And that's why I'm going to be working so hard to get Joe Biden and Kamala Harris reelected in 2024.
You couldn't resist. You had to go right back to 2024. All right, here's the last question. Would you do this again?
Why shouldn't he?
Well, you know
I
what?
hope we could do
you know who
another
should be
half
debating?
hour. I got all night.
Joe Biden
Let's keep
should show
doing
up
it.
to a debate.
That's why I want to join.
Oh my God.
Another 20 minutes, and I've got a lot of questions.
I'm happy to.
You want to stay?
Let's just do an extended hour. I'm happy to do it.
Okay, then
this has been fun.
I think it's been fun, and I think it's been
Oh my
more
God.
entertaining. I'm sorry to the guests that I've been invited. I got to take a break, though, in the meantime. We've got to pay some bills. It's not a cheap set we built for y'all. I hope you like it. Courtesy of your favorite channel, Fox News, and you do admit you watch often. We'll take a break. They've agreed to stay. Well, that's, I guess, a debate on the fly. We'll continue on the...
Oh my God, they agreed. Y'all, they agreed to stay. He said, I got all night. Come on. Did they really plan this till 11 o'clock or the full 2 hours? They just like a debate on the fly, and he's not. Why is he even there? Like, what? He's not even supposed to be there. He's not even in the election. Why are we debating with someone who's not in the election? Can someone tell me that? Why is he even on the stage? I don't get it. Yeah, they're like, oh, we'll stay. Whatever. I don't have anything else to do. Sean's straight out of the bottle now. He threw the shot glass. He's like, fuck this. It's like the never-ending debate that never should have happened in the first place. Because why is he there? Because he's going to be the runner. Is Biden already dead, you guys? Do you think that Biden's already passed away? They have theories out there that Putin passed away. So I've read, there's so many conflicting things, right? So I've read, yes, I'm still here, idiots. I've read conflicting things. So like one news source will say, oh yeah, you know, Putin has cancer and he's on hospice or whatever. And then another one will say he's dead and he's been dead for a year and he's got like a body double. And then another one will say that he's alive. It's like, do we even know if these leaders are, I mean, okay, think about it this way. When we see those clips on the news, they're not always from that time. Like they've been known, especially during the Vietnam War, to have shown not fake, but from other wars and like footage and saying that it was like Vietnam. Like they've done that shit. So if you think about all the little clips we see, think about how orchestrated they could be. You know, just like the commercials we watch. These are all sets. And now I start to look at politics as like a whole set. Peter Allen, I don't know, because YouTube hates me. Peter Allen, YouTube hates me. And nobody wants to watch politicians, I guess. They only want to watch about Idaho 4. What's that? What's that? I'm your true crime, hippie, political, space news junkie. I'm different than all the rest. And just no one's caught on. Just the cool people that are here are the only ones that have caught on so far. So it's an up and coming trend. I just haven't hit the big time yet. I guess. I don't know, man. I just think there's that the whole it's a political stage and we're just the spectators and we're starting to see it. No, I know they lie to us. They've always lied to us, but I'm talking media, like they work with the media. You know, just that whole thing. I'm not saying he's dead, but you know how they call TV shows programs, right? Who are they programming? Thank you, Deborah. I'm just doing my thing, chicken wing. It just takes time, I guess. The ones that are impotent are here.
A red state, blue state debate.
I think they,
by mutual agreement, both candidates had other commitments.
Oh, so
and
they
realized
left.
Afterwards, they couldn't stay longer.
It was all
but
jibber
we
jabber.
appreciate them all being here tonight. Okay, what did you think about it? Was there a winner, loser, winners, losers? You
There's
get to react.
wieners.
Anyway, here joining us, co-host of The Five and former
Okay,
Democratic
we're done with
Congressman
Fox
Harold
News.
Ford Jr.,
I can't listen.
along with the co-host of Outnumbered, Kayleigh McEnany, Fox News contributor Ari Fleischer. Kayleigh.
Okay, McEnany. I got to look that up. I don't know what Project Mockingbird is. That is something new to me. KDK, I think so too. I think they have to get things prepped, you know. The president isn't a part of it, really. They're a guy in a suit that tells us what the messages are that we're supposed to hear. Okay, wait, KDK. Everyone needs to go watch The Fall of Cabal. You'll learn a lot about body doubles. His boots. I love you guys. His feet are hurting. He had to go. His toes were crunched up in the boots. Well, thank you guys. Thanks, Facebook. Thank you, YouTube. I appreciate you guys watching this with me. If you'd like to see me reach more, get in a more extended reach, go ahead and like this video and share it out to your socials and subscribe so you can see more. Oh, the Mockingbird is the repeating thing. Repeating over and over. Weird. It does, though, doesn't it? Mark Dice has some great... Okay. I love watching stuff like that. You think JFK Jr. is still alive? That freaks me out. Mark Dice. All right, you guys, check out Mark Dice. Hey, Russ, I hope you come back. Russ Griswold. Russie Bottom. I hope you come back. You got some good info there. These boots have plenty of toe room. Let's roll our credits and get the fuck on out of here. Y'all need to go to bed. Bye, Regina. It was nice meeting you and Deborah. And I hope you guys come back. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your super chats. Today is the last day of our Christmas contest. I'll be announcing the wieners in the next couple days. Thank you so much for being members. Thank you for liking, and thank you for just being good human beings. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Coffee and crumbly tomorrow. Jammers, hit me up on the beep beep. All right, see you guys. Good night. Be sure to check out my other videos and playlists for more true crime content. And if that's not enough, you can join our Patreon. Don't have a tinfoil hat? It's okay. We'll make you one. It's that easy. See you guys in the next video.
See you later. Bye.
I don't give a damn. I don't really care about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. You talk way too much. I have heard enough about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. 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 You wanna be with me.
La la
You wanna
la
feel something real, but I'm feeling different.
Bananas.
Make it pass. Wanna face the fact.
You boy.
I ain't got time. I ain't got time.
La 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 la. Hey bro, hey bro, I ain't finished my section.
Nothing
you.
Been on coke and jack. Calling my phone when you
Hello.
but I never call you back.
I don't want Jennifer.
or to Jennifer Starr.
Alec Murdoch's guilty.
Thanks so much, Jennifer.
Bye, Jennifer.